Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here. Once again, Ivan, the show starts and you stick your foot up in the camera. Come on. Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on August 10th. August 10th, 2022. I have so much trouble with the date. People, they'll tune in. They say, this guy's an idiot. He can never figure out the date. It's a big achievement for him to get the date right. Okay, last time I was on the show, I told a story about when I used to work at the exhibition, and then I got a complaint about that from Ellie, Ellie said, you told your little personal story, but then you cut off your friend there, MarioTheRecruiter.com, when he was telling his story. That's not fair. I wanted to hear what he said. There's always going to be complaints. I know what a good story is, everybody. I know when it's time to continue and when it's time to cut off. But I just want everyone to know I invited him to tell the full story, and he said, no, thank you. It's over, So, Ellie, I took what you said seriously, but I know I was right,
Yes, he was right.
I shouldn't get so upset. Ivan is now famous. Ivan, Clang.so. Raise your hand, Ivan. Yeah, He put his foot up there before. It was his thumb. Anyway, he was in the newspaper in Switzerland. Do you want to tell us, did it bring you any business or anything like that?
It's already some time ago, actually. So I just forgot to post it. So yeah, it's just
some time ago? A year ago? 3 weeks?
No, 2 months, 3 months.
And did anything come of it? Did anything come of it?
I'm not sure.
No, I'll tell you my story. Go ahead.
I don't think he actually has a way to track his marketing.
No, they call you up and they say, hey, I read about you in the newspaper.
That happens only to David Perry and Rich Rosen. That's not called. And a couple of other high-end guys.
I was in the paper a couple of times. I was associating with David Perry a lot, and he's a great PR guy, right? And so he was sending, I think he had sent, people called him for the Globe and Mail. It's a big newspaper here. And so they started calling me, right? She wanted to know, the first one wanted to know, is it good if a recruiter states his or her politics in public? And, what kind of politics can they have? So I argued that a recruiter could be an anarchist because that's independent. I don't know how it came up in the conversation I had with the reporter. Anyway, so she published it. And one guy I was already doing work with said, I see you're an anarchist. I didn't get any business from it.
Animal?
Yeah.
You are on the paper for all the wrong reasons.
And then another another reporter from there called. She left a message on my voicemail. She wants to talk to me. I called her a few times, but she told me she was smart. She told me exactly what she wanted to talk to me about. So I couldn't reach her. So I left her a long, detailed message, and she included it in the article. You know how much business I got? I got from that? Zero. Okay, you know what? If I was going to edit this, I would cut all this out, everybody. But, just because you're in the newspaper doesn't mean people are banging down your door. Or maybe I said stupid things like Mario was suggesting.
No, but actually you could have quoted that you have been quoted in the newspaper as an anarchist recruiter. You could have done that on your calls. That's what David Perry does, right? He quotes that I'm the author of this article.
Yeah. Okay. Now some warm-up. Now I don't need warm-up questions, but I'll give you a few. Somebody asked, Dimple from India. She asked, "What are the good movies for recruiters to watch?" I think there's none. That people had a whole list of them, like
Wall Street.
Coffee is for cold callers or something. What's a Glengarry? What's it called?
Coffee's for closers.
Yeah. Okay. Those kind of movies. Jerry Maguire. I don't think there's any movies that are good to help you in recruiting. What do you say?
No, there are a couple of them.
The Wolf of Wall Street. Someone gave that.
Definitely. Boiler Room.
What do you learn from the Wolf of Wall Street? Not to take cocaine?
The confidence in the cold call. I take the cold call and what not to do.
He's a cheater. He's a cheater.
See. I agree he's a cheater. I'm not going to support him. but I'm going to say he's a good lesson of what not to do in business.
He's
and
now
life.
the Wolf of Wall Street. Jordan Belfort's got a whole sales training class going on.
Yeah, I know. I've read that sales.
I mean, I think he's a scumbag also. But I'll tell you, a good movie though is Boiler Room.
Hey, Rich, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Can you get a little
Rich.
closer to Iceland?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that better? I'm trying to have a little lunch.
Okay, go ahead. As long as we can see the top of your head.
There you go. There you go. I know. My chair doesn't go high enough anymore.
Rich, have you seen the movie The Family Man?
Yeah, I saw that, but it doesn't help you recruiting. It's just about a recruiter. But Boiler Room, there's a scene where Giovanni Ribisi is teaching this guy how to sell it. Guy calls to sell him a subscription to TV Guide. And he totally takes him to school about how to actually do it the right way. And it was a perfect segment for sales and recruiting. So
it was a good movie, but those guys were cheaters too. And at the end, they're running, they're running out of the building. Okay.
Hey, Animal, I agree they are both cheaters, but you can take what you can out of them. Okay, they are good salespeople. They're cheaters, but they know how to sell.
Yeah, they know how to sell, but I don't know. I didn't pick up any pointers, and I don't think watching their confidence will give you confidence either. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay.
Each their own.
Okay. Oh, you know what? Here's a tip. I'll give you a tip right away. Someone asked, when you've got a candidate and a client, and the client wants to interview the person on Zoom or Teams, and you don't want to be there, what can you do? So you can actually on Zoom, if you've got a paid account, which is not expensive, okay, you can do it. And on Teams, you know what? I'll come back to it. I can't find it. What about this one? So sorry, I'm disorganized. Oh, I lost a great one already. Okay.
I'm here. Just my video's off.
No. Okay. So here's the thing. This recruiter is interviewing a candidate. It says, I want you to show me around your room. Let me see your room. They're on Zoom, right? And so the candidate says, why? And so the recruiter says, well, the job requires a lot of organization and time management. And you can tell a lot about a person from the way their room looks. Everybody who read that said it's outrageous and stupid as well. What do you go ahead, Mario?
I totally agree with that.
It's an invasion of privacy?
Yes. Some people are such messes at home, but they are perfect in their company.
Dude, my office is a total shithole.
See, he's $1 million recruiter.
I have two dogs in here.
You look, Rich, I don't mind if we see you eat, okay?
Well, I'm done now. Other people don't want to see me chew.
I don't mind. These disembodied voices, I accept them, but I'm not crazy about them. Okay.
This from the days of what you didn't want to do video at all. Look at you.
Yeah, look at me. Look at you.
Look how we have grown.
Rich, the animal has grown so much.
It wasn't just me. No, it wasn't me. Jerry didn't. Jerry was on the show then, and he never wanted video. Okay. So anyway, and maybe for the same reason. No, but why is it offensive? Show me around your room. All the career coaches say you should have a nice setup.
Look at, I got holes in my wall. Who cares? It's a dumb thing. It's a waste of time. It's a dumb recruiter. Gives you no
insight. Ivan, do you have an opinion?
You can just bonus points for being innovative, that's for sure, right? But you can, for example, say, how would you prove that you are a very orderly person? Is your flat in order at all times? And then if the candidate says, yeah, my flat is really in order at all times, let me show you. Then it's a different thing, right? So you can't just ask, do this. It's stupid, right? But you should open the opportunity to to go to this direction. If the candidate follows, it's awesome, because some people's flats are really clean at all times and perfect, in a commercial. And then this is
but what does that prove?
Nothing. But it's like a conversation, and you feel good about I don't know, being the core on whatever you're talking about. I think why not? Recruiting at the end of the day is that the chemistry is.
Mario wants to say something.
Please not change the topic. This is a very good topic, actually. I have a question.
Go ahead.
Where do you need to be very organized? Just educate me. I think in a managerial role or a position where the organizing is part of the process, right? Correct?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm asking the question from you guys. From your perspectives. where do you need to be very organized? I mean, for example,
You always, every job has to be organized.
No. I'm asking.
Okay, Rich is agreeing with you. Rich, answer his question.
I sadly agree with Animal. Every job, you got to be some level.
No, I meant your organization skills come into the picture.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with your room?
That's what I'm trying to say.
He's moved beyond that. He's moved beyond the room.
Some people are.
I've got a different question then. Okay, I've got a question. If the stupid recruiter doesn't want to check out how your shelves are organized or anything like that, but they want to know if you're organized, how can they find out? How can an interview tell you if the candidate has good organizational skills? Does anybody have an answer to that one? That's a good question.
I actually want the answer for that. It's really good.
Nobody's got it? Even the two geniuses on the bottom row? No? Okay, fine. Let me move on. Does anybody else have an issue? Okay. Mine is our self-proclaimed visionaries, always losers. And I didn't make it up. Okay. This guy said, I just read a resume in which the candidate states that he is a visionary. I'm tempted to call and ask him for an example of this, as there is nothing in the rest of the resume that suggests he is. Okay. I'd say he might be a jerk, but some people, they just, visionary doesn't mean that you're Moses, okay, coming down from Mount Sinai. It just means that you're smart. Does anybody have a take on that, visionary?
It's stupid. It's as dumb as the person looking around your room.
Okay, why is it stupid? Because it's a boasting, it's overstating.
Because they have nothing to say. When's the last time you've heard a visionary actually have some visionary comment, some game-changing, insight to something? Well,
what does visionary mean? That you've come up with a new idea, something new, or that you can tell the future, you're the first on a trend, or you're predicting a trend? What does it mean, visionary?
I have no idea. It usually just means they're blowhards in, marketing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like in recruiting, like Danny Cahill is usually on the forefront of everything. I would say Danny's like a visionary,
That's his friend, everybody. Okay,
yeah.
just.
But you give me someone that's better than Danny. I mean, like
Danny's funny. Danny's funny.
Fantastic, funny, and he's got great insight to the industry and the market. I mean, there's a lot of good trainers, but I just think Danny's got like the best, at least for my style, he's always got the best one-liners and the best view of what's happening.
Yeah, one-liners. Okay, that's a key to visionariness. Okay, yeah. Okay, what about this? The candidate, the manager, you present. Hi, Ernie. You present the candidate. The manager says she's got to interview with 3 different people, me and 2 others. The recruiter says, "Look, let's have a panel interview. No stretching it out into three separate interviews." Is that the right way to go about it? To press back and say, no individual interviews, do it all together? What's everybody's take on that? Ernie.
You really don't have control. You can ask, you can beg, you can do everything else. But
no, but is it a good idea to even suggest it? I personally don't. A panel interview might be qualitatively different than an individual.
It's a good idea to do it. Speed is always great to get it done. But, there's some people that are just stuck in their ways and how they do things.
Okay, that's not the question, okay?
Well, that's what I'm telling you. I'm giving you the fucking answer.
You sound like my wife. Let me ask your question, but I'm going to answer something completely different.
Here's a different question. Let's say you really are set on this. Look, this candidate, we're going to lose her unless we move quickly. Is that how you have to press back? How would you, like Ernie saying, "Oh, they're not going to buy this." Well, how do you get them to buy us? How do you get them to buy it?
Ernie's saying you can suggest it, you can tell them, they're going to decide what they're going to do.
That's a given.
That's more of a candidate push though too. But the animal, your point that, I mean, I always tell clients, you got 10 days to hire, you're going to lose them. And you know what? I don't like panel interviews, but sometimes it just makes sense to get it done. If you work with your client and say, "Hey, listen, is everyone on board? People know what they're going to ask. Is there one guy just going to sit there and pick his nose? Or are they actually asking real, questions that are not going to duplicate the guy before them. You know.
So do they do it?
Yeah.
And do all of them do it?
Just about. Very few.
See, he's different than it. Ernie gets mad and says, Ernie's not happy. I'm Ernie. But Rich says, I'm Rich. Okay. I'm number 11. Okay. On the you do what I tell you. Okay. Or you're not going to be lucky enough.
No, but it's all how you deliver the message. And you say, listen, I mean, like, I've got a deal going on right now. It's, you know, it's taken longer than I want to take. I said, listen, the guy's interviewing with 3 other companies. If it's not done by, you know, whatever is Friday, you just kiss it goodbye.
Okay, but why don't you like panel interviews to begin with?
Why? Because I don't think most companies do them well. I think, like, I mean, I had one company, they had 23 people on a final panel interview. 23 of a 75-person company. I mean, other than it just shows the candidate that this company is a complete fucking waste of time. It has no time management or money management skills. Because
what if they might say, look, Rich, we just want everybody in the team to get a feel for this person.
This is the Stanford model. Like, everyone from Stanford, like the whole world to get along, and it's not the real world. Like, you can't have 23 voices. You know, you need, you know, depending how big. Like, my client's a startup, so you need a small group of people to make decisions. If the executives and the hiring manager can't agree, you know, on what's right or wrong, how are you going to get anything done? To me, it just represents a bad image. If you've got, you know, 3 or 4 people on an interview, it's a panel discussion, you know, it's not just guys taking pot shots. Maybe you're doing a demo or a presentation. That makes sense. But, you know, most companies, they don't do a panel interview well. They set it up. And
okay, but what I've read lots of articles. There used to be a lot of them actually that said the recruiter should get involved and show them how to get a list of questions. Everybody has the same questions, and they've got a checkbox. I like the answer. I don't like the answer. It was in between. Okay, something like that, or 5 grades of happiness or dislike, whatever. So would you advise them ever to say, look, if you're going to have a panel interview, I want you to do it this way, or I'm going to advise you?
I don't give them the questions because they've got to determine what they really.
No, but say, look, this is the structure. You have to have it. You all have to be on the same page. It's not like, oh, absolutely. You make your questions. I don't know what they're going to ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'll tell them.
Yeah, I said, listen. I mean, you got to have it. You got to have a plan. You can't just go in there and say, hey, Jim, what questions do you have? Bill, what questions do you have?
Okay. But obviously, Rich, okay, I'm sorry to do this to you in public. No, I'm not. You let them show up at that panel interview with 23 people. Whose fault is that? It's yours, buddy.
How is that my fault?
You didn't ask them, hey, well, what's your structure? What's your plan for the interview?
Oh,
Rich,
I forgot.
we're going to bring in 25 people.
Stop. Everything that happens is the recruiter's fault. I forgot. My bad. You know, after they get hired, it's my fault. The company makes their own decisions. It's my fault. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, the end of the world is a recruiter's fault, I think. You know, I mean, the company's going to, not every company is going to listen to everything you say. Not every CEO is going to say, all right, the recruiter said do this. Of course, this is what we've got to do.
You know, if I was Rich, I would wear a hockey sweater and with a big number 11 on it, and I do everything on Zoom.
You can go and suggest. You can say, this is what I recommend. This is what I don't recommend. And you know what? The ones that follow the process that you've seen work 100 times, they usually win. The ones that don't, like the idiots that did this 23-person interview, all right, honestly, they ended up not hiring anyone. They ended up wasted so much of their company's money and time. Hired a guy they interviewed 9 months earlier and then fired the CRO that was running the search, actually, the day afterwards.
Okay. So again, you have no control over it.
You have no control.
They're going to do what they're going to do. You're going to make your suggestions. You're going to be strong about them. But some egotistical guy on the other side,
especially if it's a tech engineer, like Iwan, right? You're fighting with an engineer-run like a tech founder. He's going to tell you to fuck off. This is my company. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. If you don't like it, well, we won't work together. Yeah. And that's your choice. Is that
I want you to know something. Ivan's got some ammo as well. He could say, look, I was quoted in a Swiss newspaper. Okay. You're not dealing with some nobody.
Well, all 12 people read it. And
well, it was about 2 lines. Okay. But it's a start. It's a start to a public fame. Okay, to clout. Okay, and just in case everybody doesn't know, Rich placed number 11 on Forbes' list of top American recruiters, and he was the top solo recruiter. Okay, so
and
there
he's
you
good.
go.
He's good, and he's a nice guy.
There you go.
Number 11. Number 11. I would put it on my forehead. Okay.
You can put it on your forehead that I was number 11. I would
No, if it was me.
That I was
Rich,
number 11.
Rich, you need to do what Ivan does. Have a background with number 11 on the Forbes list.
I know,
Yeah.
I should.
Yeah.
I have to make one of these little
You look like a gangbanger.
yeah.
Or I know number 11. That's what I should have.
There you go.
I'm friends with Rich.
The Mike
I know
Tyson
Rich.
recruiting.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Does anybody have a burning issue? I've got lots of questions, and eventually I'll stop jumbling them. Anybody want to talk about something that made them mad? No, I know Ivan's got a lot to talk about because I copied all his complaints. He's learning lessons about humanity every day, right? And
he's actually moving. That's him. I thought it was a picture.
I know, really. You never know.
Unless he's created this thing where
when I stopped moving around, I remember I had a guest. He said, "Your screen is frozen." But see, I have advised you guys.
Rich was talking. He was just totally still.
Well, he was listening to the muse, okay? But I've advised you guys to make faces and move and stuff to get some action going. It's not good when everybody's got a stiff. Mind you, I saw that Ivan was featured on Hung Lee's podcast. You were talking at length about something. I can't remember what it was, but they gave you a lot of time. Okay. The client has an RPO. They don't like that RPO that they've got. So they go to this recruiter, a contingent recruiter, and say, look, we want you to work on 8 jobs. 8, okay? Average salary, $150,000. Your regular fee is 22%. Because we're giving you an exclusive and this high volume, we want you to knock the fee down a little. What do you guys say? We'll start. What?
How little?
No, you tell me. They said, look, so he says, how should I come back to them? Okay. What's your take? You're thinking, okay. Anybody got something Ivan, do you have an
any
answer?
kind of changes, I would stick to everything to like my default contract for the first deal at least, right? Then you see how easygoing they are. And like, I would not why would you? They haven't paid you anything so far, so why would you make any discounts?
Yeah, listen, I missed the question. Are you just doing an RPO or doing like a full?
No, they've got an RPO. They don't want to give these 8 searches to the RPO for some reason. Okay. They want to give it to this contingent recruiter.
They want to give it to you.
Yeah.
You would want a retainer up front, if they want any kind of value, that's the first thing.
Why? Why do you need a retainer? You don't take their word for it that they're giving you an exclusive?
No, I don't. You flat out tell them.
Are you saying
every first year recruiter has a situation where guys like, I got 12 searches for you. Oh my God, you're going to make so much money. And then you do one and they're like, oh, we decided we're not going to hire the other 11, but thanks for the discount.
But
are you
saying retainer or an engagement fee?
Either one, engagement fee. But I do it as engagement. That's my version of retainer. But if you get some money up front, they're real. So, maybe you can give them a flat fee. You can do a package deal. There's a lot you can do if they're committed. But if I'm doing 8 searches, I want that $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 up front. Otherwise, there's no real discount until you get to number 8. And even then, quite frankly, there's no real discount. But
maybe that's a point that you're saying there is like saying there is no discount until we get to number 8.
But even then, honestly, the argument for that is, though, when you get to number 8, you got less people in the pool to pull from, so it's a harder search. So, quite frankly, I should be.
They might not all be. I don't think they're all the same job. Okay.
Well, then that's even a bigger question. Like, why discount if they're different jobs? Those are different searches.
They're giving you 8 jobs now.
It's
I'm happy with one.
I haven't raised the issue that one of the key issues, it might not turn out to be 8 jobs, right? and that's why. Let's see what happens. I'll give you the discount as we progress. That's what Ivan said, right? Yeah, Mario, do you want? Got anything to say yet?
Yeah.
See, yeah. If you have a large team working, you can probably agree for it from a business perspective to see what happens in the first placement. With the second placement onwards, you can say this is not working out and increase the rate. If you have a large team working with you. Now,
you're giving the opposite. Yeah, give them the discount on the first search, and
see what happens.
Okay, Ivan's was the opposite. Pay me the full fee on the first search, and if I like you, I'll give you a discount.
I'm talking about a 2% discount on the fee.
2%. That's all, eh?
Yeah, not more than that.
Rich, what discount would you give? None.
None. I don't do discounts.
Ernie's shaking his head.
No,
I don't know. You need to understand one thing. Rich and Ernie work alone. So they have to look at how much investment they're putting into it.
Yep.
Now I have a team, so I can get them to do the work. I just oversee the search.
So which takes you to the first thing. Do you really want to do it? And are you? Is your table set so that there's room to do it? You know, and
there's all.
And the other thing is though too, you got to look at it too. Why give a discount and then be tied, to one client? That client can pull the plug at any second, and then what do you got? Your engagement.
Well, not everybody's got a million searches or people throwing searches at them, and they're happy to get it.
But again, wait, hang on, Mark, hang on. But that's again, if you've got one client that's got you nailed down and now controls you. Great. Now you're working for this guy. You're not working for yourself anymore, number one.
Right.
This guy can pull it anytime he wants. I'm guessing everyone here has had a one client suck up all their time and then go, poof, just kidding. We don't need any more people. And what do you got?
Or they sell their company. Yeah.
Exactly.
You got to look at it in terms of what's best for your business.
Yeah.
Not that you get all excited, because you can get excited with one job order, but then the question becomes, now go fill it. There's nothing in it with just a job order unless you get some engagement fee. But
can you guys, now we've got these big pictures, can you lean into the camera and smile so when I take shots for the, yeah. Okay, good, because it takes me a lot of work to find the front shot.
The worst picture you can make. Yes.
Oh, okay. I work hard on your pictures, Rich. Okay, especially because your camera is fuzzy. Okay, now Ivan takes some of the best pictures because sometimes he's so cool, but sometimes he gets excited, and those are good.
Most of the times he has his picture up there and he's not even there.
Exactly.
Maybe, yeah. Okay, but hold on. Ivan did say something about this. He said, I'm going to put a heading on it. Business people lie. If they promise you future work, it's a one-off gig. If they promise interesting work without giving concrete examples that actually excite you, it's going to be boring. If they claim to be ethical, run away. Okay. So you believe you're learning the country boy who came to the big city that you've been burned. Don't trust them. And that's the wisdom that Rich and Ernie are also, these old hands are sharing as well. Do not trust these liars. Is that right?
Yep. Okay. It's not that you don't trust them, but why put yourself in that position?
No, I liked what you said, Rich, about don't marry they've got, don't make them yourself dependent on them. But for me, 8 big jobs, that sounds exciting. Okay. And you're saying, no, it's not really. There's nothing exciting about it.
Yeah.
And that's where you got to look at it and see what you really want to do.
Yeah. I mean, you know how many times I've had clients pay me an engagement fee only to go away literally 48 hours later? I mean, 8 contingent jobs is as, useless as whatever. I mean,
let me ask you, during this time, like everyone's talking about recession and talking about supply chain issues and everything else that's going on, and you go to the stores and you're seeing some empty shelves. I mean, what the hell's going on?
So the future's unpredictable. That's what Ernie, foodindustryrecruiter.com. Foodindustryrecruiter.com. Just let me say, he used to be a vice president of HR in the food industry. So he knows that business well. And now he's an external recruiter. You can trust him. Foodindustryrecruiter.com, cornerstonesearch.com. Raise your hand, Richie Rich. Yeah, number 11. I did his ad already. And Clang.so. That guy is an IT recruiter in Switzerland who's got so much time on his hands that he built his own applicant tracking system. Everybody loves it. KLANG.SO.
And it's good to know, Ivan, because should I ever go to Switzerland, guess where I'm crashing?
Yeah. Right, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Here's an interesting question. Okay. And I didn't make it up. Would you hire, if you're a hiring manager, or if you're advising a hiring manager, would you hire a rich person? They were talking about some kind of software engineer, but in my opinion, it could be anybody. Comes out of a startup where he or she, got lucky. They got all the stocks and the equity, and then it went public and it cashed in. So they don't need money. They just want to work on interesting things. Is that a candidate too risky because you don't have somebody said, sorry, everybody, my language, this guy's got fuck you money. Okay. If he doesn't like the way you're running your business or treating him, he can leave or she can leave. So you'll have no good financial control over that person. Would that influence your hiring? Anybody?
I would say the thing is, it's a concern and probably should be listed at the bottom. But the other thing is, I would have more concern hiring somebody who's a entrepreneur, solo guy, been a recruiter. I wouldn't hire one of us.
Okay, no, lots of people won't hire people who are coming from working on their own.
No, but I mean, if you work for yourself, you don't like to be told what to do.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. They're hard to control, and then they always want to go back to working for themselves. Rich is waiting to say something.
Yeah, I think it depends on the role you're hiring for. If it's just because you got a lot of money, doesn't, like, sales guys with a lot of money are still in it for the win. Some of them, are just going to be, if they're like, 80 years old and just don't have the drive anymore, yeah, it's not there. But if you're, 50, 60 and you made a ton of money and you still got the gas in the tank and you just want to win, they don't care about they don't necessarily care about the dollars. They care about the competition. And that's what you're hiring for. It is. It's a game. The recruiting, it's a game. And when you think about what we do, it is an absolute game. It is gambling every goddamn day of our lives. And it's about the competition. Who can get the best guy the fastest, convince people to get things done, gets people an interview.
Okay, so it's not an issue. Ivan, were you going to say something?
So actually, I heard the reverse. So somebody would say, if I hire a salesperson and this person comes to the interview in a Toyota, I'm not going to hire the person. I'm going to hire the person who comes in a Mercedes, expensive BMW, a Porsche maybe. Why? Because these people, they need to pay probably a loan for this very expensive car. Same for clothes. So these people were this is no joke. This is a real story. They were looking for salespeople who really spend the money, right? So they are hungry to make money. So this was really the proxy to hire a good salesperson. Rich, ever encountered something like that, or did you ever hear something like that?
Of course. Somebody come. Yeah, listen, I don't want to buy from a desperate sales guy. This guy comes with a beat up Toyota with Bondo all over his car. You're like, this guy's just commission breathing. He's desperate for the deal. So totally true. But the same thing. If a guy shows up in a Porsche, it could mean either, hey, listen, the guy is done phenomenally well, or the guy's just a big spender and a show off. Again, it's a data point. It's a flag in all directions. But I would, when I think about it, I'd rather buy from the guy in the Porsche than the guy with the, little child molester.
Isn't that the thing that Warren Buffett, he's got this thing where he's driving around in his old beat up car.
Yeah.
And that's his claim to fame. He drives himself. He doesn't have a chauffeur. He doesn't have the big whatever. But the other.
But you know what? I want to make it. These guys never see anybody's car or anything like that. Okay, that's never a factor.
Google houses. You don't like. I got sales guys. I'll Google their address and see what their house looks like.
Well, sometimes when you're interviewing them and you're on you're in the building, you walk them out to the car.
Yeah.
Just so that you can see the car, because the old saying was, however their car looks is how their office is going to look. And
my car's a mess. My office is a mess. It's a good point.
Yeah, but the other part having to do with this is people are always saying you should hire people that are smarter than you. So is a guy who has a lot of money smarter than you when you don't have a lot of money? And can you learn from that?
Yeah, the money
It's
doesn't.
a different question. I don't know what you're talking about anymore.
No, I think
Moving
it's a good
on.
question. It's a tangent question. I mean, I think, you know, you don't have to be smart to be rich, you know, and you know, there's plenty of people that are better at a job than someone who just got lucky, you know, and made a huge deal. So I don't, you know, money's not the whole driving factor for.
Okay, but the issue there was retention and teammate, you know, willing to compromise. If you've got a lot of money and you don't need a job, really, you might not be the easiest person to work with. I think that was the.
But that's just too general.
Yeah, it's too general. That's just.
Yeah, I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay, good. That you get me back. Okay, I don't mind.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay, this woman wrote a very interesting article. You know what? If you guys don't want to go into this territory, it's okay with me. I think we are getting the deep water a little too often here. But she wrote an article. She was working for Google, and she loved it. She loved her job. She loved the people. She ate all her meals there. She did her laundry. She bought into it like she lived there virtually, right? She loved Google. Well, I guess he didn't find it interesting. It's a good story, Ivan. Just trust me, okay? But she had a team leader who started making comments about how good looking she was and stuff like that, and she just overlooked it. Okay, finally, he was going to become the manager over her new team leader. He would move up. She couldn't tolerate that idea. She complained to HR. All of a sudden, Google wasn't such a friendly parent anymore. She said it was just a cold, hard company, okay? And she doesn't trust anybody anymore. And I'm wondering, if you had a good candidate, I think she's probably a very smart young woman. She came up from nothing, went to Harvard, okay? And so if you had a candidate like that, and the first thing they raised with you, look, I'm coming out of a bad situation. I'm concerned about HR policy and how they've handled any kind of complaints about sexism in the past. What would you do? How would you handle that? Anybody? Ernie, you're coming out of HR. Do you have something you would say?
Number one, I would just tell her, look, that's a good question. I don't have the answer to that, but they do. So in the interview, if there's an interest in your part, then that's an important factor to get.
You wouldn't mind if she went in there and the first thing she raised, she raised that issue.
Yeah.
No,
what? I think it'd be a huge, I mean, as a candidate to bring that up, that's a big flag. You know, she's not wrong for asking, but I don't know how you.
You think the company's going to take it the wrong way? Is that what you're saying?
I do. I think most people are going to take it the wrong way if they don't know her, or they don't know the whole story, and they're just getting one side of it. Because honestly, my wife went through this exact situation. Well, not the exact situation, but very similar. She made a complaint to HR after being Employee of the Year at a company for 14 years. A month later, they're basically, you know, putting her on a plan, you know, and eventually they're just like, there's a whole long story, but, you know, I mean, she just went to the next company and just, you know, she didn't mention it, didn't talk about it, because how do you look at someone and say, hey, listen, even though HR, no offense, Ernie, HR is often the devil because they're just more corporate spies than helping the kid.
I mean, HR's role is to keep you out of litigation.
Keep the company. It's to keep the company out of litigation.
Yeah, keep the company
out
of litigation.
About the employee more often than not.
No, you can do your best, but I mean, that's the problem with HR. They start calling everybody family. Yeah. And I always used to tell people, no, there's no family here. It's like, if they call you family, just ask yourself, would you ever get fired? Because they're not going to fire their family, and you know, and so
they're going to kill their family.
But it's a marketing of how they do. It's a marketing of how they try to do it. Family, we're a team. I hate all that shit. They are employees.
At the end of the day, HR, you know, their job is to protect the company.
Okay, here's my take. Here's my take on it. Here's my take on it. I'm sympathetic to the woman, and I think it's the obligation of the recruiter just to save his or her reputation as a fair person. Has to speak to the client about it and come back with information, or like Ernie said, go in there. I'll tell them that's what you're interested in and make it your first question. Mind you, they if they couldn't reject her, it would look like they're rejecting her for that reason.
It just depends on what they want. I mean, some companies are really good at it, others are not. But the problem is you fall in love with the company. And people always are like hurt because, oh, I was so loyal to the company and I did this. And I always tell people, you have an emotion that you're giving to the company. The company is a building, it's a corporation, and it has no emotion. So therefore, it can't give you love back. So
okay, it's just a tricky situation, because if she goes in with that complaint and she gets, or you present the candidate, there's always going to be wondering if it doesn't work out, if there's some ulterior motive. I think it's a very difficult situation unless a company has really clear policies and a story to tell about it, which most don't. I assume it's not going to work out very well.
With any company, the company to you is your boss. I mean, you could have Warren Buffett as your boss, but you're never going to see him. All you're going to see is that manager right above you. And if that person's a jerk, it's going to be a jerky company. If he's a great person, then that company is going to be a great company.
Okay, I'm moving on. It's too bad it's all the senior guys are here. I read an article. It said junior recruiters can be good teachers. There's the belief among certain academics that a subject is less efficiently learned from an adept, someone with a lot of experience, than from someone who's just finished studying it. Okay, the person with lots of experience, they can't imagine what a newbie is thinking, and they can't present it in a way that's going to be meaningful to them. I think there's really something to that you might not, you might want a junior person to teach your new recruiter rather than an experienced manager. Anybody? Okay, Rich is making a face like he's got a stomach ache.
That was painful. Yes, let me have the new person who doesn't even know what to do. They read it in a book yesterday, so let them teach.
Not that new, but 6 months or a year. I think it's a great idea.
A year, yes, if they've proven themselves. 6 months if they've proven themselves.
Okay. Rich proved himself in 6. I know he's been on the show before. 6 months, he was outselling everybody. Okay, there you go.
But the point is, in general, though, who wants to learn from the new guy who has done nothing?
Me, okay, and I've heard about it in karate as well, martial arts. The experienced people, they're just moving too fast. You can't see what's going on. You need someone who doesn't have that speed yet.
Yeah, but you got to know. You can actually see what they're doing to teach someone. All right, so like there's I know a recruiter. This guy did nothing, didn't close a deal for his first 6 months on the job. All right, do you want to learn from that guy? Or do you want to learn from the guy that's been for there, who's made, $250,000 in a year?
Okay.
The reality is, it's the same guy. This one guy, he actually did an MRI when I started. He did nothing his first 6 months, and by the end of the year, he did 250 in the first year. But who would have known? So
it really depends. You can learn something from everybody.
Absolutely.
But if they assigned you something, I think with the new people, I think you listen to them when they start talking tech, like how to find people, how to do this, because they know all that crap. I think in terms of how the system works, in terms of recruiting, you got to go to the older people, the veterans.
But the new people, like when I train new people or help other recruiters, it's great because they ask questions that make you think about your process.
Yes.
And they'll do things that you probably would have done because you're like, it's not going to work. I've done this 1,000 times. And they do it, and it actually works. They call the candidate that you were going to ignore. So sometimes that greenness is actually positive.
Yeah, and that innocence that asks a question that gets you to thinking. So you can learn a lot from them.
Absolutely. You can learn from everyone.
Okay, so they've turned around. First they made, me look like a jerk.
No.
Now they're agreeing with me, okay?
Who would you want to learn? Who would you want to train you was your question, not the new guy who's done nothing. It doesn't mean you can't learn something from anyone. Learn something.
We turn it around as we're training ourselves.
Exactly.
We're learning.
Okay. Here's Rich's itch. Yeah, look, I make a face like that, and I can cut it out and put it on my.
Okay, now is that it? I think that's him live though.
Yeah,
that's him.
Ivan,
yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a sec. Here's what Rich says. He says he commented. He said because of a discussion we had a couple of weeks ago. He said you don't learn the names of the children of your candidates and clients to be a cheesy sales rep, whatever that means. He said the point is getting to know candidates and clients as people, not just as shallow transactions. Talking about kids, college, travel, and the pains of life are great ways to build rapport.
Yeah, I just talked to a candidate yesterday. It was a long call, but it was the guy went to University of Wisconsin, where my daughter's going to go in a couple of weeks. The guy spent a half an hour talking to me about Wisco and all the things she should do and this stuff. And then we spent 15 minutes talking about himself and the job. It was great. The guy is super excited about the opportunity. He's ready to rock.
Rich, that's very cheesy of you.
I know. I mean, horrible. How dare you want to get to know someone, God, or have some common interest. People buy from people they like. You know,
okay.
Simple as
so
that.
were you thinking, this is going well, I've got this fish on the hook, he's going to love me because I'm listening to him, something that he's interested in, right? Were you calculating, or were you saying, geez, I'm really enjoying this conversation?
Both. You know, it's really both. Because even if it's not for today, recruiting's a long game. Even if the guy wasn't right.
So it's instrumental. Yeah, that's what they call it. It's not an intrinsic enjoyment. It's instrumental. You're using that person. Just like you said, like if he wasn't interesting.
Your choice of words.
I know, really.
You're using them.
Yeah.
Let's be frank.
You're Adeline, you must teach my wife how to argue on the side, I think, as your side.
You've said that before. You said that before. Okay. But so the point is, though, even if this person was boring and talked about Wisco,
if they were boring,
he played in the chess club there and he's a nerd, you know, and you guys had nothing in common, but he wanted to turn your ear for an hour about Wisco, you would have listened to him.
No, if they're boring, if they're boring, I don't think I can ever place them. No, I won't waste my time. But you can just politely cut them off. And
along with that is what you're doing is basically just extending your network.
Yeah,
you're either going to place him, or he's going to go somewhere else because he's going to be successful.
Yeah.
Or he just has you. It's somebody you can pick up the phone and go, "This is Rich. How you doing?"
Yeah,
and he'll talk to you.
That's the way that, you know, like my dumb ranking on Forbes, it's because, you know, I talk to everyone. You help them out. Even if you know you can't place them today, you're a friend, a confidant, you become someone they can trust and you build that rapport with. Over time, they remember that.
And Rich, how many times have you called somebody and said, "Hi, this is Rich Rosen," and you don't know who they are, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, I remember talking to you. I know who you are."
All the time. Or they say, "Oh, I saw you on LinkedIn. I saw you on that," or whatever. Or you're connected to like everyone I ever know. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, but that's the business. I mean, literally, like why we're sitting there talking, you know, it's all about the network and like literally why we're on these podcasts. I sit there and go through LinkedIn and just comment on, you know, other VPs things on LinkedIn, their posts.
So can you tell us more about how you use people?
Well, but hold on. This is what I'm learning. If I get I'm talking to Rich on a messenger or something like that, I'll be thinking, I'm gonna listen to what he says and answer. So I'm gonna ingratiate myself. I'm gonna ingratiate myself to Rich, not because it's that interesting, but you know he's gonna me. He's gonna think, well, recruiting animal's a really great guy, and then I can ask him for a favor. That's it. Okay,
Adam, I'm just going to start calling you Claudia because this is how my wife argues. So I'm just going to ignore everything you said, but I'm going to go with my message. So if you want to actually, you know, I'm not going to waste my time with people I can never help with. They're just boring because I don't want them as clients. I don't want them as candidates.
And do you end it by saying in the middle of the conversation, boring, and then hang up?
I know. What I will tell them though is that, listen, if you drone on like this, the client's going to hang up on you. So I'm like, you got to get right to the point. And even if it's something I want to know about, I'm like, oh my God, my eyes start bleeding. It gets painful.
You think you can tell someone that and they're going to actually change overnight?
100%. Oh my God. Listen, most of them say, "Oh, thank you. I didn't realize it." Or I get all the time. It's like, "Yeah, I've heard that before. I know I talked too long." Like, you ever talk to a guy?
But yeah, I've heard it 100 times. But now that you told me, boy, I'm gonna change. When I go to the interview, I'm gonna be a live wire. Okay.
How many times have you said that? Like, you talk too much. I'm gonna coach you. Don't talk too much. They go to the interview, and the hiring manager says he talks too much.
I'd probably say it at least 2 or 3 times a week, minimum.
Because like Animal, why they will listen to Rich is because Rich said before, hey, I know these clients, I worked with them for like 19 years, I know what they want to hear, and then the candidate will listen to that.
I mean,
because,
who do you want? Wait, hang on. Who do you want? Who do you want? The guy that's gonna say, oh my God, that looks great. I'm not gonna tell you got a giant piece of lettuce hanging in your teeth. Or you want the guy, listen, dude, you want the job, right? Yeah, I do. Then get the fucking lettuce out of your teeth. All right. Who are you gonna listen to? The guy that was honest with you?
Yeah.
Or the guy that just
That's not my point, Rich. Okay, you guys, I'm not so much smarter than you that I see something you don't. The issue is habit, okay? Or your brain structure. These people can't change. They might want to, they might say, oh, thank God I spoke to Rich. He's so smart.
Thank you.
But when they get to that interview, well, their old brain is there. Hey, I'm still the old me.
Dr. Rich.
Animal, if you could put that on a clip for me, I'd appreciate it.
What's that?
Thank God I spoke to Rich. He's so smart. But listen, people are actually coachable to a degree. They're not going to go and be like.
That's the question. I didn't think of that word, coachable.
Yeah, I mean, they're coachable to a point. They're not going to go from A to Z overnight, but they make incremental strides. Like on my monitor, I've got different little notes all over the place that say, slow down, smile, do this, do that. Over time, you change. You talk louder, stand on your, stand up, and you project better. All that stuff makes sense. It changes and it helps. But it's not. Is it going to happen overnight? No. But you can tell someone, listen, don't give an answer for more than 30 seconds, or they're going to get pissed. And that they can remember. They put a note on their monitor. They're staring right at it. Coaching.
Listen, Fred. Put a timer on your Apple Watch.
Yeah.
In the middle of the interview. Beep, 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 beep.
Honestly, I tell them, listen, if you feel like you're going on too long, pause yourself, catch yourself, and just ask the client, how deep do you want me to go? I can go, because some clients are going to be like, listen, I only want the surface. Other guys.
Let's have a go round about coachability. Mario, quick answer, okay? No rambling.
Thank you.
Our candidates.
Are you coaching them now? Are you coaching them now?
Yeah, but I can cut him off, okay? Yeah. I have more power than the recruiter who's sending a guy out to an interview where he's not going to be, okay?
Be careful, Mario.
How coachable are candidates on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 means that, they're robots. Again, they're going to do whatever you tell them.
Hang on, Mario, don't answer, because you can't give her a generalization. Everyone is different.
Can you coach Animal?
How coachable is Animal is the better question.
That's not a good one. No, he made a statement. He said people are coachable. And if they're
people are coachable, but that doesn't mean they're going to change.
What?
You can get coached, but that doesn't mean you're going to change. You can coach a person.
That means you're not coachable. Listen, it's like talking to the wall.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm talking to the wall. All right.
Ivan, are people coachable?
Oh, 100%.
To what extent?
He has to say that.
I mean, adults less than children, I guess, but everybody's coachable. My God, of course. Like otherwise, the world wouldn't work.
We're talking about you're sending a candidate who talks too much out to an interview. And you're telling her or him, hey, cut it short, okay? Or you're pretty boring. Don't talk in a monotone when you're speaking to my client, okay? How much do you think they're going to be able to change in the interview?
If you say it in such a super stupid way like you did now, not at all, but you have to say it in a way such that the person receives the message in a correct way. I mean,
tell us.
Yeah, exactly like Rich Rosen said. Hey, if you want to get the job, I know the client rather well. They want.
Rich said what I said.
No, you said.
Rich said if you talk like that, they're going to kick you out. There's no way you're going to get hired.
Actually,
that's exactly
Rich
what
said
he
it just like that. He's actually more crude.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. He has another aspect to it.
I don't have a lot of.
But see, he laughs and he says that, Iwan.
Rich
so
yeah, exactly.
He gets away with it.
I'm not going to argue about that. Okay,
Ernie. Excuse me, guys.
Yeah.
Once again, Animal. I think that's how he's still married. Okay, he laughs and says everything to his wife, so he gets away with it. Okay?
Yeah, I wish it worked out.
He hasn't done a good job with his wife. He hasn't coached her.
That's right. After 20 years, 20 years, I remember he just had his 20-year anniversary. Yeah.
Look, are you getting that personal information, Animal? I mean, I'm a little concerned.
I told everybody, put it in. If you want to suck up to Rich, put it in the calendar next year. If we're still all here. Hey, Rich, congratulations. Ernie, coachable. How much are your candidates coachable?
They're not. They're not.
A little louder.
They're not coachable because what you see is what you get. They aren't going to change.
Clients.
They're not going to change. You can tell them, and then they'll
Think about
say,
it.
"Oh yeah, sure, no problem." And then they'll go
But
right
think
into
about
that
it. So,
interview.
Ernie, so imagine if you found clients that actually wanted to work towards success and fix a broken process.
Okay, you're talking about different things. Ernie's saying
No, he's saying his clients aren't coachable.
No, those are his candidates.
Yeah, well, all right. Well,
He told us earlier in the show, you tell them what to do, they say, sure, Ernie, and then they go out and do the opposite. That's what he said.
How many times have you said, hey, you talk too much, you got to slow it down, let's practice that, and you ask a couple of questions, okay, and then you get them down, and then they go to the interview, and then your hiring manager says,
don't go to the dark side of animal where it's all or nothing. All right. Yeah. It's like, hey, we're a football team. We make the same. We practice these drills every single day. We go to the game and it didn't work. Right. It doesn't mean it's not going to work next time. I mean, listen, guys get nervous. People.
Do I think they're coachable? I think how they are going to be how they're going to present themselves, and there's nothing you can say in 5 minutes that's going to change them from something that is drastically wrong.
I fully disagree because people.
No, you don't fully disagree. You can't fully because you said don't take it all.
No, because it's it's not everyone is going to make the change. That's impossible. But there are people that want to improve themselves. This is why there's 1,000 self-help books. People that want to improve will improve. People that don't want to don't. It doesn't mean that next interview they go on, they're going to ace it and do phenomenal. But you can see if they're making the right progress. I mean,
have you ever asked a guy
over the years?
Have you ever interviewed a guy or talked to him and as you're qualifying him and they don't shut up? You ask them, and then you just go on and then they don't shut up, and they're not going to shut up, but they have the skill sets that they want, and you tell the client he doesn't shut up, but he's exactly what you want, but he doesn't shut up.
Yeah.
So expect that.
Yeah, I mean.
And then they'll decide whether they want him or not.
You may want to phrase it as the guy's very enthusiastic, but it's all how you put the wording together, so you don't completely sink the guy before he starts.
He doesn't shut up.
But I mean, that's another factor.
But I've had plenty of guys who they've talked long-winded, and I have significant ADD and don't have patience for it. I tell them the client may just hang up on you if you give this long answer. Listen, some of them, they get it, and they keep it short and sweet. Other guys, they call me back and say, I fucked up. I talked too long. But they're trying. They're working.
Guys, one second. One more thing, Ernie. I think it depends on the sector and how badly the client wants to fill the role. To put up with a guy who won't shut up.
And maybe it's the role, because you're doing sales. You're doing sales guys, and you don't want an introvert for a sales guy, or does that work for you?
Sometimes it does. I mean, it's not every sales guy needs to be a guy smiling with the lampshade on his head. I mean, like Iwan's a sales guy. He's a recruiter. I mean, he's not running around the park naked. He's he's doing his thing.
You don't know what's
he's got the screen. This is true. But I mean, it all depends. I mean, every it depends who your buyer is.
What's that you have on your head that you said you're not running around with something on your head?
I don't know.
Okay.
Ache.
Okay. Hey, everybody, the show's up. I just learned though, fake it, pretend you're, Rich always says you got to pretend you're energetic when you're on the phone. We can talk about that another time. That's one of his keys to success. Hi, great to talk to you. Yeah, man. Okay. Thanks, everybody. CornerstoneSearch.com, FoodIndustryRecruiter.com, Clang.so, and Mario, TheRecruiter.com. Bye, everybody.